You must realize that the world in which you live is chaotic, complex, and filled with innumerable forces acting on you, forces that you cannot always control or fully understand. The essence of your existence, your identity, is continuously shaped by these forces. Yet, in the midst of this turbulence, there is one cardinal principle that remains of paramount importance: the necessity of maintaining a sense of privacy. Keeping a part of yourself hidden, even from those closest to you, is not merely a strategic decision but an essential element of psychological well-being and personal strength. When you expose too much of yourself to the world, when you offer up the depths of your soul too freely, you place yourself at risk. What you are doing, in effect, is leaving yourself vulnerable to the opinions, criticisms, and judgments of others. You open the door to be dissected, to be reduced to a set of traits, a set of labels, that others can control, manipulate, or distort at their discretion. There is an inherent danger in overexposing the inner workings of your mind and your life. Once something is known, it can never truly be unknown. The secrets, the vulnerabilities, the intimate details of your life, once revealed, cannot be retracted. This is not to say that you should live in a state of isolation or secrecy, shut off from the world around you. Social interaction is essential to the human experience. It is through others that we learn, grow, and evolve. But it is equally important to know the limits of what should be shared and the wisdom of withholding certain aspects of your inner life. In fact, it is in this act of withholding that you may find some of your greatest strength. Consider the notion of self-preservation. There is a natural tendency, perhaps driven by insecurity or a desire for validation, to reveal too much of yourself to others. You may share your deepest thoughts, your most profound struggles, your most private desires in an attempt to create connection, to be understood. Yet in doing so, you may find yourself not deepening that connection, but instead creating a distance between you and those around you. You may inadvertently invite others to judge you, to mold your image, or worse, to use your vulnerabilities against you. By revealing too much, you give up control of your own narrative. Think about the way people form judgments. The human mind, even the most well-intentioned among us, tends to categorize, compartmentalize, and label. When someone shares too much, they are no longer seen as a complex individual, but rather as a set of experiences, a narrative that others can latch onto. People will form their own conclusions based on the information you give them. And once that judgment is formed, it can be incredibly difficult to change. They may not be seeing you as you truly are, but as the reflection of what you have chosen to show them. In their minds, you are a story, a collection of facts, feelings, and behaviors that they can understand and explain. But the truth is that you are more than the sum of what you allow others to know. Consider also the fact that our understanding of ourselves is constantly evolving. You may be a different person today than you were yesterday or the day before. Our thoughts, our emotions, our very selves shift in ways we may not even fully understand. To reveal everything about yourself to others is to freeze yourself in time. You become trapped in the perception that others have of you. And yet, you are a dynamic, ever-changing individual. This fluidity should not be restricted by the static image others create for you based on what they know. There is an innate danger in allowing others to define you. Society loves labels. It wants to put things in boxes, to categorize experiences, personalities, and behaviors into neat compartments that can be easily understood and dealt with. But you are not a label. You are not a category. You are an unfolding narrative, and the moment you allow others to define you by what you have revealed, you allow them to shape the story of your life in ways that are not necessarily true or beneficial to you. This, however, does not mean that you should completely shut yourself off from the world. The question is not about complete isolation, but about strategic self-disclosure. What you choose to reveal to whom and when should be an intentional act. The key to maintaining your strength lies in exercising control over what others know about you. In withholding certain parts of yourself, you allow yourself the freedom to change, to grow, and to adapt without the constant scrutiny of others. You also protect yourself from the judgments that can arise when you offer up too much of yourself. Let's explore this idea further. Think about the concept of mystery. There is something inherently magnetic about mystery. People are drawn to the unknown, to what they cannot fully understand. When you present yourself as an enigma, others will feel compelled to try to understand you. This curiosity can work to your advantage, allowing you to retain power in your relationships. People will want to get to know you, but they will only know what you choose to reveal. And because they can never fully grasp who you are, they will always hold a certain level of respect and intrigue for you. Mystery allows you to maintain a level of distance from others. It protects your psychological space. This distance is not about creating barriers, but rather about allowing yourself to exist independently, free from the pressure of others' expectations. The more you reveal about yourself, the more others may come to feel entitled to know. They may expect you to behave according to their perceptions of you. But when you keep parts of yourself hidden, you maintain the upper hand, the ability to shape how others see you and how you engage with the world. Let's also consider the importance of setting boundaries. Boundaries are essential to any healthy relationship, whether personal or professional. They allow you to protect your emotional well-being and retain a sense of autonomy. Without boundaries, there is no clear distinction between who you are and who others want you to be. You become overly influenced by others' desires, opinions, and expectations. By setting boundaries, you take control of your life. You decide what to share, when to share it, and with whom. In a world that is constantly demanding transparency, it can be difficult to maintain these boundaries. Society, especially in the age of social media, encourages oversharing. People are expected to present their lives in real time, to share their thoughts, their successes, and their struggles with the world. But this constant exposure can erode your sense of self. It can make you feel as though you are living for others rather than for yourself. The pressure to be constantly on, to be constantly available for the scrutiny of others can be overwhelming. This is why it is essential to have control over what you reveal and what you keep to yourself. Maintaining this control is an act of self-respect. It is a way of honoring your own personal space, your own psychological integrity. By keeping certain parts of yourself hidden, you signal to the world that you are not an open book for anyone to read. You are not a commodity to be dissected or reduced to a set of superficial traits. You are a complex individual, deserving of respect and autonomy. Another important consideration is the role of vulnerability. It is often said that vulnerability is a source of strength, that it is through vulnerability that we truly connect with others. While this is true to some extent, there is a fine line between being vulnerable and being exposed. To be vulnerable is to allow yourself to feel deeply, to be open to connection. But to be exposed is to allow yourself to be manipulated, judged, or harmed by others. The difference lies in the level of control you maintain over what you reveal. Vulnerability is a choice, a conscious decision to share parts of yourself with others. Exposure, on the other hand, is an act of relinquishing control. There is also an inherent power in silence. In a world filled with noise where everyone is constantly speaking, sharing, and projecting their voices, silence can be incredibly powerful. It allows you to gather your thoughts, to reflect on what is truly important, and to determine the course of your actions. Silence is a form of self-control. It is a tool that allows you to maintain your personal power without the need for constant validation from others. Consider the impact of silence in conversations. When you refuse to reveal too much about yourself, when you choose not to speak about your innermost thoughts and feelings, you create a sense of intrigue. Others will wonder about you, they will be curious, and they will be more likely to respect your boundaries. Your silence does not make you weak, it makes you strong. It is a sign that you are in control, that you are not afraid of being misunderstood or judged. Finally, understand that your life is your own. The narrative of your existence is yours to shape, to direct, and to mold. You do not owe anyone an explanation of who you are or why you do what you do. You are under no obligation to share everything about yourself, to open up every door, to reveal every corner of your soul. The more you guard your inner world, the more you protect your identity, the stronger you become. You are not required to explain yourself to anyone. The mystery that you cultivate is not a sign of fear, but of strength. It is a declaration that you are not easily defined, that you are not subject to the whims of others. You are an individual, a unique and evolving being, and that is something worth protecting. Sharing too much of yourself with others can leave you vulnerable to judgment, manipulation, and the distortion of your true self. It is essential to protect certain aspects of your life to maintain control over how others perceive you, ensuring that your identity remains fluid and not confined to others' expectations. Setting boundaries in your relationships allows you to preserve your emotional well-being and personal autonomy. By being intentional about what you share and with whom, you prevent others from imposing their desires and labels on you, allowing you to remain in charge of your own narrative. There is power in withholding parts of yourself, creating an aura of mystery that draws people in while protecting your inner world. Silence and selective vulnerability give you control over your personal space, ensuring that you engage with others on your terms rather than being exposed or defined by their judgments. In today's increasingly interconnected world, there is an overwhelming pressure to open up and share every aspect of our lives. Social media platforms have turned privacy into a commodity, constantly urging individuals to reveal personal information, emotions, and thoughts, often for the sake of validation or engagement. Yet, while the world pushes for transparency, the act of preserving one's privacy has never been more vital. Privacy is not just about withholding information for the sake of secrecy. It is about protecting your emotional integrity, safeguarding your psychological well-being, and ensuring that your identity is not diluted by the judgments and opinions of others. At its core, privacy is an expression of self-respect and self-preservation. It is about choosing what to share and what to withhold, controlling the narrative of your life. Every person has a right to determine what they reveal about themselves, when they reveal it, and to whom they reveal it. This control is not only an essential component of personal autonomy, but also a safeguard against being exploited, manipulated, or reduced to a set of labels. In the absence of privacy, people often feel exposed, vulnerable, and unprotected. By revealing too much, whether it's your deepest fears, your personal struggles, or your inner thoughts, you risk becoming a subject for analysis and judgment. The more you expose, the more others may feel entitled to critique and judge you. People tend to form opinions based on limited information, and once something is known about you, it can be hard to change how others perceive you. These judgments can become fixed, and you may find yourself trapped in a narrative not of your own making. The danger lies not just in others misinterpreting your actions or words, but in them constructing an identity for you that is defined by their perception rather than your own understanding of who you truly are. This is not to say that one should completely withdraw from the world or isolate themselves entirely. Human connection is essential to our well-being, and we thrive on interaction with others. However, the way in which we engage with others and the amount we reveal about ourselves must be considered with great care. When you choose to reveal too much too quickly, you risk compromising the very essence of who you are. You become an open book that anyone can read, and when you give people that kind of access, they can write whatever story they choose. The more you share, the less control you have over your image, your narrative, and how others relate to you. It is crucial to understand that not every person deserves access to every part of your life. Everyone has different levels of intimacy and trust, and these should be respected. It is not about building walls or keeping people out, but about knowing the appropriate boundaries for different relationships. For example, not everyone in your circle needs to know about your personal struggles, your financial situation, or your family dynamics. Such details are yours to share on your own terms, with those who have earned that level of trust. One of the most significant consequences of oversharing is the potential loss of personal power. When you open yourself up too much, you may inadvertently give others the ability to manipulate your emotions, thoughts, and actions. Vulnerability is important, but it is equally essential to maintain control over what you disclose and when you disclose it. Vulnerability should be a conscious choice, not an obligation or an impulse driven by a desire to connect. There is strength in withholding it as a way of showing that you are not at the mercy of others' opinions or judgments. By maintaining your privacy, you retain a sense of personal sovereignty and avoid being defined by others' expectations. Furthermore, privacy enables growth and self-discovery. When you withhold aspects of yourself from others, you create space for introspection and self-reflection. You allow yourself the room to evolve without the constant influence of external pressures. This process of internal growth and exploration is often hindered when others are constantly offering their opinions or judgments about who you should be. When you preserve your privacy, you retain control over the development of your own identity, unfettered by external expectations. It is through this internal space that you can cultivate a stronger sense of self, one that is not influenced or shaped by others' perceptions. Privacy also protects you from emotional burnout and exhaustion. The constant act of sharing, explaining, and justifying oneself to others can be draining. When you feel the need to explain every aspect of your life, you risk overexposing yourself and depleting your emotional reserves. The act of preserving privacy allows you to conserve your energy, ensuring that you do not overextend yourself in an attempt to meet the demands of others. In turn, this preserves your emotional health, allowing you to engage with others in a more balanced, grounded manner. Another key aspect of preserving privacy is the ability to protect your personal and professional boundaries. When you maintain privacy, you can better differentiate between the aspects of your life that are for you and the aspects that are for others. In personal relationships, for instance, there are topics and feelings that are meant to be kept between you and your closest confidants, not for public consumption. Similarly, in professional settings, maintaining privacy allows you to retain a sense of individuality and autonomy, preventing the blending of your personal life with your work persona. Privacy also allows you to safeguard your autonomy in relationships. In today's world, relationships can sometimes feel transactional, with one person expecting certain things in exchange for emotional or social connection. When you make the decision to preserve your privacy, you assert your autonomy, signaling that you are not a commodity to be bartered or controlled. This preservation of privacy serves as a safeguard, ensuring that relationships remain balanced and that your sense of self is not compromised. Another factor to consider is the role that privacy plays in protecting your mental health. When you are constantly sharing and exposing yourself to others, you may inadvertently invite negativity, criticism, or harmful behavior. People are quick to offer opinions and judgments, and sometimes those judgments can be harsh or unjust. The more you reveal, the more susceptible you become to these external forces. Maintaining privacy allows you to filter out the noise and focus on what truly matters. It allows you to protect your mind from the bombardment of unsolicited opinions and judgments, creating space for healthier, more constructive thinking. In this digital age, the importance of privacy extends beyond our physical boundaries. The online world is an ever-present force, and everything you post, share, or express on social media can have lasting consequences. Your thoughts, images, and ideas can be captured, stored, and shared indefinitely, and once something is online, it is nearly impossible to completely erase it. By choosing to preserve your privacy, both online and offline, you maintain control over what aspects of your life remain in the public domain and what remains private. It is crucial to be mindful of the digital footprint you leave behind, as every post, comment, or image has the potential to shape your online identity in ways that you may not fully understand or control. Another important point to consider is the role of privacy in preventing exploitation. The more you reveal, the more you make yourself vulnerable to those who may not have your best interests at heart. There are people who seek to take advantage of others' openness to manipulate or use the information they have learned for personal gain. By keeping certain parts of yourself hidden, you protect yourself from these individuals and maintain your power and agency. When you are selective about what you share, you reduce the opportunities for exploitation and increase your ability to navigate the world on your terms. Privacy also fosters a sense of dignity. Dignity is closely tied to self-respect, and when you make the conscious decision to preserve your privacy, you honor your own worth. You acknowledge that you are a unique individual with personal thoughts, desires, and experiences that are not for public consumption. In a world that often encourages oversharing and vulnerability for the sake of connection, preserving privacy serves as a quiet act of dignity. It is a way of saying that you are not here to be judged or reduced to your most vulnerable moments, but rather to be respected as a whole person, beyond what is immediately visible. There is a certain beauty in maintaining privacy, an elegance that comes from withholding the depths of your being while allowing others to experience only what you choose to reveal. In a society that often demands openness and transparency, choosing to keep parts of yourself hidden is an act of grace and strength. It requires self-assurance and wisdom to know what to share and what to keep to yourself, but this act of withholding can often be the most empowering choice you make. The importance of preserving your privacy cannot be overstated. In a world that increasingly encourages exposure and transparency, maintaining privacy is a form of self-preservation and empowerment. It allows you to protect your emotional well-being, safeguard your identity, and maintain control over how others perceive you. By withholding certain aspects of yourself, you are asserting your autonomy, preserving your dignity, and ensuring that you remain true to yourself in a world that often seeks to define you. In doing so, you protect not just your personal information, but the very essence of who you are. Privacy is not a luxury, it is a necessity for living a healthy, authentic, and empowered life. In an increasingly interconnected world, where personal and professional lines often blur, maintaining clear boundaries has become one of the most crucial skills for personal well-being and mental health. Boundaries are not simply about saying no to others, but are deeply rooted in our understanding of ourselves and the way we interact with the world around us. To maintain boundaries is to preserve your sense of self, to safeguard your emotional, psychological, and physical space, and to create a life that is aligned with your values, needs, and desires. Establishing and maintaining boundaries is vital for healthy relationships, whether they are personal, familial, or professional. A boundary is essentially a limit that you set to define where you end and others begin. It marks the space between you and the world, protecting your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Boundaries allow you to engage with others without losing yourself, ensuring that you are not overwhelmed, manipulated, or exploited by others' needs, desires, or expectations. Without boundaries, you risk becoming consumed by the demands of others, sacrificing your own needs, time, and energy in the process. You may feel as though you are living for everyone else, constantly giving without receiving, constantly being stretched in ways that drain your resources and diminish your sense of self. This lack of boundaries can lead to burnout, resentment, and a profound sense of loss. Over time, you may find yourself overwhelmed by the weight of other people's expectations and needs, while your own desires and limits are disregarded. This often results in an inability to function at your best, as you become emotionally and physically depleted from constantly overextending yourself. Setting boundaries is not a selfish act. In our busy, fast-paced world, it can be easy to get caught up in the demands of others, leaving little time for ourselves. When you maintain clear boundaries, you make space for self-care, personal growth, and activities that align with your goals and values. You prioritize your time and energy, ensuring that you are not spread too thin by obligations that do not serve your well-being or long-term happiness. Setting boundaries can help you achieve greater balance in your life, allowing you to focus on the things that truly matter and bring you fulfillment. Boundaries also play a crucial role in protecting your mental health. In environments where you are constantly pushed to perform, overextend yourself, or meet unrealistic expectations, boundaries become an essential tool for maintaining your emotional well-being. Without boundaries, you may find yourself overwhelmed by stress, anxiety, or burnout as you try to please others or meet their demands at the expense of your own needs. By establishing clear boundaries, you create a buffer between your emotional state and the demands of the world, allowing you to function more effectively and with greater clarity. It is important to remember that maintaining boundaries is not a one-time event but an ongoing practice. Life is constantly changing, and so too are your needs, desires, and limitations. The boundaries you set at one point in your life may no longer serve you as circumstances evolve. As such, it is essential to regularly check in with yourself and reassess your boundaries. This requires flexibility, self-compassion, and an understanding that it is okay to change your boundaries as you grow and evolve. By remaining attuned to your own needs, you can continue to set and maintain boundaries that support your well-being. While maintaining boundaries is essential for personal well-being, it also contributes to the overall health of relationships. Healthy relationships are characterized by mutual respect, trust, and understanding, and boundaries are the foundation of these qualities. By setting clear limits and respecting the boundaries of others, you create an environment where both individuals feel valued, heard, and respected. This creates space for deeper connection, emotional intimacy, and long-lasting, fulfilling relationships. Ultimately, maintaining boundaries is about protecting your sense of self. It is about recognizing that you are a whole person worthy of respect and deserving of emotional, mental, and physical space. By establishing clear boundaries, you honor yourself and create the conditions necessary for a balanced, fulfilling life. You create the freedom to engage with the world in a way that feels true to you, without compromising your values or losing yourself in the process. The act of maintaining boundaries is an act of self-respect, self-care, and self-preservation, and it is essential for navigating the complexities of life in a way that is healthy, balanced, and empowering. In a world that increasingly values transparency, the notion of embracing mystery and silence may seem counterintuitive. Modern culture pushes for the constant sharing of thoughts, emotions, and experiences. Social media platforms often reward those who divulge the most about themselves with likes, comments, and validation. The assumption seems to be that the more we reveal, the more we connect with others, but the truth is that there is a profound power in withholding. Embracing mystery and silence can create a sense of depth and allure, offering a refuge from the noise and chaos of the outside world, as well as providing a space for self-reflection, personal growth, and strategic social interaction. There is an innate tension between the overwhelming urge to be understood and the need for privacy. Most of us have, at some point, been told that we should be more open, more vulnerable, or more expressive about our feelings. And yet, too much transparency can leave us feeling exposed and vulnerable, while also inviting unwarranted opinions, judgments, and expectations from others. By embracing mystery, we retain control over how much of ourselves we choose to share, safeguarding the most important aspects of our identity. We do not give others the power to define us, nor do we allow ourselves to become an open book to be judged, critiqued, or misunderstood. Mystery grants us a certain freedom, the freedom to define our own narrative, to evolve at our own pace, and to reveal only what is necessary or meaningful. Silence, in a similar way, offers a reprieve from the incessant demands for engagement and interaction that permeate modern life. Silence is a form of self-preservation. It offers us the chance to listen deeply to ourselves, to others, and to the world around us. When we are constantly talking, responding, and explaining, we drown out the subtle, nuanced messages that silence can offer. Silence forces us to pause and consider our thoughts before they escape into the world, giving us time to process, reflect, and clarify our intentions. It allows us to observe situations more thoughtfully, taking in the environment around us without rushing to fill the space with words. Embracing mystery and silence is not about being secretive or evasive. It is about exercising discretion, maintaining control, and recognizing the value of our own inner worlds. There are parts of us that are sacred, private, and deeply personal. These aspects of our identity deserve to be protected, not paraded for the consumption of others. By choosing not to share everything, we retain the ability to protect these parts of ourselves from external forces. We also ensure that when we do choose to share, it is with purpose, and it is shared in a way that maintains our autonomy. In social settings, those who embrace mystery are often the most intriguing, the ones who capture attention without saying much at all. They do not reveal their inner workings or disclose their vulnerabilities to every passerby. Instead, they allow others to perceive them in layers, slowly revealing small glimpses of themselves over time. There is an allure in this calculated withholding. Others are drawn to them not because they know everything about them, but because they know so little. The absence of information sparks curiosity, and curiosity fosters a desire to understand. People want to know what lies beneath the surface, and this dynamic creates a natural tension that fuels deeper connection and fascination. At its core, mystery speaks to the complexity and richness of the human experience. To be truly mysterious is to acknowledge that we are multifaceted, not easily reduced to a single narrative or perspective. Our identities are fluid and ever-changing, and mystery allows us to be dynamic and elusive, never confined to the limitations of others' expectations. It is through mystery that we express our individuality, for it reminds us that there are layers to who we are, layers that cannot be easily understood or summed up in a few sentences or observations. Mystery allows us to remain a work in progress, constantly evolving and shifting, free from the pressure to be fully known or understood by everyone we encounter. In this sense, silence and mystery are powerful forms of self-assertion. They allow us to carve out our own space in the world, one that is not dictated by the demands of others. When we embrace mystery, we are essentially saying that we will define our own terms of engagement, and we will choose how much of ourselves we reveal and to whom. This is not an act of detachment or disconnection, but an act of preservation, preserving our energy, our emotions, and our sense of self. Silence allows us to control the rhythm of our interactions, dictating when we engage and when we remain still. It is a form of quiet strength, a demonstration of self-control and discernment. By maintaining silence, we show that we are not desperate for attention or validation, we are content in our own company, and we are not afraid to be alone with our thoughts. Furthermore, mystery and silence protect us from the forces that seek to manipulate, exploit, or otherwise influence us. In a world where information is constantly being consumed and traded, we are often bombarded with requests for our attention, time, and energy. People may demand that we share, explain, or express ourselves in ways that do not align with our true nature. The more we share, the more others may feel entitled to our time and resources. By maintaining a certain level of mystery and silence, we create a buffer between ourselves and the external pressures that seek to invade our space. We become less susceptible to the judgments, expectations, and demands of others, and instead we retain control over our own narrative. Silence, in particular, is a powerful tool for maintaining boundaries. When we choose not to engage or respond to certain conversations, situations, or individuals, we establish a boundary that protects our mental and emotional well-being. Not every request for our time or attention is worth fulfilling, and silence allows us the space to discern what is truly important. It serves as a reminder that we do not owe anyone an explanation, nor do we have an obligation to fill every silence with words. In a world that constantly demands our engagement, silence becomes a form of rebellion, a quiet act of defiance against the pressures to conform, perform, or reveal too much. The act of embracing mystery and silence also allows for deeper connections with others. When we are selective about what we reveal and when we engage in conversation, we invite others to truly listen and observe. In contrast to superficial exchanges, silence can foster a deeper level of understanding as it creates space for genuine connection to unfold. People are often drawn to those who are not quick to speak or share, as these individuals exude an air of confidence and self-assurance. By withholding, we create an environment where others are invited to meet us on our terms, not theirs. This dynamic encourages mutual respect and allows for more meaningful, authentic exchanges. Additionally, there is wisdom in silence. In the absence of constant chatter, we open ourselves to deeper reflection and introspection. Silence allows us to connect with our inner selves, to process our thoughts, emotions, and experiences without the interference of external voices. In a world that is always busy and loud, silence provides the clarity we need to make decisions, solve problems, and understand our desires. It is in these moments of quiet that we can hear our inner wisdom, find our true voice, and reconnect with the core of who we are. Silence creates the space necessary for personal growth, enabling us to learn more about ourselves and our place in the world. The practice of embracing mystery and silence is also a form of self-respect. By withholding aspects of ourselves, we signal to others that we are not willing to be reduced to mere information or entertainment. We are not here to be dissected, analyzed, or consumed. We are multifaceted individuals, and there is more to us than what meets the eye. Mystery and silence allow us to express the depth of our being without the need for constant validation or recognition. We exist beyond the expectations and judgments of others, and by embracing silence, we protect the integrity of our identity. In conclusion, mystery and silence are not merely tools for avoidance or detachment, but powerful means of preserving our sense of self, asserting our boundaries, and engaging with the world on our own terms. They provide us with the freedom to evolve, to reflect, and to express ourselves selectively, offering protection from external pressures and judgments. In a world that often demands transparency and constant engagement, embracing mystery and silence allows us to maintain our authenticity, safeguard our emotional well-being, and cultivate deeper, more meaningful connections with ourselves and others. By choosing silence and mystery, we embrace the strength of restraint and the beauty of being truly known only by those who are worthy of the privilege.